Welcome to the TikTok Boom podcast. My name is Natalie Potts and I'm invested in helping people love what they do in life and business to achieve greatness. Each week, I'll bring you an inspiring personal message to help you in taking action. Thank you for spending time with me today. Now let's go. How many times have you hoped that coaching, mentoring, therapy, counselling, meditation, breathing, the list goes on, those techniques would just really help you move forward and be the silver bullet? So I think I'm in my fourth year of therapy now. So I've tried EFT, rapid transformational therapy, CBT, so many different types of therapies, blended hypnosis, meditation, RTT. And every time I went into a different style of therapy, I've thought, this is going to be it. This is going to be like the silver bullet, and yes, I'm going to be sorted. 4 years later, I'm still not. Now, the reality is we're never going to ever achieve a destination with a mindset like that, or a view like that, because one, it's just never going to happen, and two, we shouldn't want it to happen, really, because we're always going to be learning on a growth journey. So that was my flaw, I guess, at how I was looking at it from the start. Begin with the end in mind, but maybe that was a little bit too hopeful. When I started to really think this year about what else do I need, and I've been through, I guess it was never anything specific therapy this year. It's just very much one-to-one, focusing on everything in my life. And I just got to about May and just decided I needed something more specific. I didn't know what, though. So I had a little think and a bit of time out, because I'm very conscious of how powerful it is when we just have a higher self-awareness, and every transformation starts with awareness. And I knew this, and I thought, I'm going to pay attention, and it's going to come to me at some point when I'm ready, and it's going to be the right thing for me. And by that, I mean, it's not, I'm going to go out there searching for it, or I'm not going to ask loads of people about it. I did ask a few people around this idea of breathing, which I'll come to in a moment, but I didn't want to get hooked on, come onto my class, or just go, down a rabbit hole with it. So I was really focused on this idea of just pay attention, and it will come to you, and trust that, and just be there to read the signs as they come from. So I came across a guy called Stuart Salmon, who I had the privilege to meet last night and be part of his book launch, which is his book, Breathe In, Breathe Out, which came out yesterday. And it was in a room with no more than 30 amazing individuals, of which I didn't know anyone. And we had an experience where we did some breath work, and then we connected with people, and we shared stories, experiences, and it was just a magical evening. And it made me reflect today on where I'm at in life and how different it is compared to the beginning of the year, and how much we can change and evolve in a short period of time, as well as what feels a long period. Now, I'm also going through, I guess, a massive transition with business and in my life. And sometimes I've been probably very much wrong in the ways of approaching life, that business is business, home life is home life. And actually, that's just impossible. They are a blend. And actually, the most amazing people in my life, in my inner circle, as I say, personal life, are from my career previously and my business background. And I find such amazing connections with people, and you can meet some people in business and you can instantly click and connect with them. And that was what was so powerful last night, is being able to share experiences very similar but very different to other people, and having that connection. And sometimes I don't even have that connection with people in my life. Now, I very much know who is in my world, so I'm conscious of those relationships and everything. Been in a relationship where it's both ways, and I give, they give. There's empathy both ways, and there's love both ways. There isn't really many people that I have to create lots of boundaries with. But I just came to think last night and this morning around how powerful it is to just get out there and try something different and go through different experiences, and probably the ones that we fear as well. I don't get really anxious or nervous about things. I was a little bit aware of what last night might hold. I was a little bit skeptical in some ways, but open to a different experience in my life and what it bring me. And some people have been following my journey a little bit the last few months, but I've also been on a grief recovery program, and it's very, very different from therapy. Hence why they make that point, and they didn't call it therapy. And it's really tough. It's really tough. And so is breathing. Like, I find this experience amazing and liberating, but it's not easy. And it's not easy because and I'm not going to throw it out the window here. I've just saying, go out and find what works for you, because I'm finding that holding a space with therapy, of going back to the past, unpacking everything, where most of the time I say to therapists, like, I'm going to be really stressed out actually if you make my past something that it wasn't, in terms of, I know people have gone through therapy and suddenly turned on people in family and friends, or they've made situations out of their past. Actually, no, I don't need to take responsibility for that, and sometimes act a little victim. That's probably sounds quite blunt, but sometimes I feel that that's what therapy can do in my experience, and I was very conscious of that. And it almost sometimes is a bit like, where do you put blame? And actually, the reality is that I've had nothing in my life that I should be massively regretful for, because everything got me to here. There are certain things that I regret, but on the round, on the whole, I don't. And I don't want to then put something in a place where it isn't. And I remember being challenged around my relationships, and is there something there? Let's unpack it. And I was like, it doesn't, we keep talking about it. There's nothing there. What are we digging for? So that used to make me quite tense in that environment. I thought, well, again, that's not how I want to feel from this experience. And I go, people remember how they feel on things. And this is exactly the part with the breathing work. I've had to notice through grief recovery, and two areas I've been looking at grief recovery are a previous relationship and leaving the workplace career, because people seem to think it's just losing a loved one, and grief is so much more than that. There's over 40 different types of grief, and there are so many. By no means am I a specialist on this. Like, I can connect you with specialists, but I'm not a specialist. I'm just talking about my own experience here. And it's been amazing to look at unpacking and exploring my emotions and my trauma. And trauma can be anything, okay? So I've really looked at then breath work and this idea of emotions and trauma. And I'm going to read a little passage in Stuart's book, and he hasn't asked me to do this. I just absolutely find this experience is amazing. But breathing is a powerful, accessible tool to calm your stress, reduce your pains, and manage your emotions, is what he says. And it is exactly that. So I won't share his story. I invite you to actually go in and find out about Stuart yourself. But I want to read one of the parts that's really hit a chord with me this week. And it's about the power of intention. And he says that with intention, you make a deal with yourself to overcome your resistances and commit to change. This isn't always easy. There may be times in a process where you feel unsettled or out of your comfort zone. There may be times when you need to stop reading and simply process what you've learned. There may be times when you need to reread sections. All of this is okay. It's called breath work for a reason. If you want results, you've got to put the work in. And then he goes on to ask great questions. And this is where I love the work that I've done with Stuart, only over the last few months as well, not long at all. But he always ends breath work in the morning with, how can you make today great? How do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning? How do you want to think and feel throughout your day? What are the challenges in your life? What would you like to come in your life? What do you need to feel more like yourself? What do you want to do for the world around you? And some of these intentional questions are really, really powerful. I mean, coaches tend to coach themselves quite a lot and ask great questions of themselves even, and also coach themselves through situations. But what I loved last night was when he shared around just notice the air around you and the love around you with that. I can't remember the exact phrase, but it was similar of that. And just feeling it. And it was so powerful. And we did a 30-minute breathing technique of breathwork. And there was a moment when I looked up, and it was in central London, and I was able to see up all around that central London area, the stunning, the Gherkin and all of that area. And I just saw the sky moving, and it just hit a chord. And this is what I find with grief recovery. There will be like snap of my fingers moments, and I will just let this emotion go. It's incredible. It's incredibly scary in some ways, but it's like almost when I purge my emotions in grief recovery, like it's overwhelmingly, I cannot control my emotions and tears. And I actually sometimes find it quite funny because I'm like, what is going on? And last night as well, it was just hit me about this moment of how precious life is, how much we have in our lives that is just amazing, and how much we should be grateful for things and realize how great this place is. And we have a choice to make about how we embrace our days, and we have a choice to make about how we want to live our lives. And we do. And I just thought it was so powerful. And what I'm wanting to bring back to, just like I shared at the start about how many times do we kind of look for that silver bullet, is that you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to do what society deems is the right thing to do. You need to go out and understand, and maybe search as well. It's not a bad word. I don't potentially like the word a lot, actually, because I think it's like, we just, sometimes we're always searching, like, because we never know what it looks like to achieve, to get what we want, and we need to have an idea in mind of what that looks like too. So I think, again, it comes back to this idea of awareness in order to start that transformation. And you've got to have awareness of what's working and what's not working. And I was realizing that therapy wasn't actually helping me manage my emotions and understand them. And last night, that experience of breath work in that room with other people allowed me to feel the most calm I felt in a long time. And therapy hasn't unpacked that for me. It hasn't allowed me to explore the emotions, to think about what is the pain I've been feeling. And if I can describe it in any way to bring it to life for you, it's that somebody just chucks weight on you the whole time, and you use self-sabotage, techniques, routines. Mine was a really bad relationship with food, like binge eating and alcohol. I was drinking last year, like ridiculous amount of a bottle every night and 2 or 3 gins every night, and just doing this ridiculous cycle every day. And it went on and on and on, and hit obviously the climax where I was signed off for depression. And I also noticed I had self-sabotage habits in terms of helping others, because helping others made me feel good. It gave me that helper's high, and I was doing more and more of it, but not actually helping myself. And you've got to start with yourself. It's not selfish to do that. It's selfish not to do that. And last night, I just realized that when you are in that place and you just take all of your pain and you just then add more to that, and you don't explore what's in it, it's like, imagine this, like your belly is just full, and you just keep pushing down all the time, and compressing, and then you explode in different ways, you see. And it's then you have these bad habits, and they're not bad habits if you know how to manage them and you can control them. That's a difference. So drinking isn't, it's when you get in a bad routine with drinking, and an obsession, same as the helper's high, the bad food thing. Having a donut's not going to be the end of the world. Having a drink's not going to be the end of the world. But it's when you get in different routines and you can't control them in the same way. And that's the point. The irony is you feel in control by being this way, that you just take everything, push it down. And if you can think of the state your body goes into, it's like defense mode. And he was sharing this last night, that your body just kind of freezes and you get very tense. And I was noticing that through grief recovery, is that it made me, there's points when I'd feel that, and I just was always thinking, what's my calm? Where's my calm? Another great book on looking at calm is by Fern Cotton, and that's got some beautiful and eloquent language and ways of putting things and our perspective on what calm is in life. So it's an amazing book if you haven't read that. But this is again what Stuart talks about, this idea of calm, and it's just so powerful. And last night was one of the most calm moments I've had in as long as I can remember, because I literally felt, and that's why I was very emotional with it in that at that moment. And I was like, but why do I feel this way? And it was because it was literally like, I feel now that belly is like a void that feels empty in an amazing way. Like the pain's less now. I'm letting go of things. I'm exploring and understanding things. I'm feeling in control because I'm doing that, and because I'm not having these habits that I had before of overeating, drinking, and that to hold me back. I'm in control, and I make decisions now. I'm like, I don't need that. It'll be there tomorrow. I don't need it. And it's an amazing feeling. And I'm not saying that it's always going to be perfect, and I won't have days when I might want a donut or might want a few more drinks and then not be looking forward to tomorrow, because I'm human and we all are, and that's fine. It's really important that we also understand that it's okay not to give ourselves a hard time if we don't stay on track. We've got to jump back on track pretty soon now. So I just thought it was to share this with you, in that you don't always have to do what you think everybody expects you to do. You need to find what works for you. Be open-minded, get in new connections, meet new people. It's an amazing world, and I don't think that we hold ourselves back. We limit our own potential, and we limit our own experiences, and we limit where we can be in life. And I often get asked where my confidence comes from and why I'm so confident. And again, like I've really explored that recently, because I don't know, I was like, I got a drama degree. Maybe it's that reason. The reason was because I was very comfortable in what I'm doing, in probably the last 18 years, where I was in a career that I knew everything really well. I could look at something and go, that's wrong. I knew how to get results by this, if somebody came to me and asked, what we doing with this? I'd say, you just do X, Y, and Z, you get the result. I was that knowledgeable in areas, because you will be after 19 years, right? And I did well at it. I did very well in that job and that career. So it always gave me knowledge, and I always had so much experience in so many different situations. And I always say, you look after children when you're a vet or you manage people, and you're pretty experienced, because they're not easy gigs, and managing people is challenging, because you've always got to be able to read people really well and apply good judgment. That's not judge people, but you've got to apply good judgment. There's a difference. So I noticed that I was very comfortable there and secure, and that was also then security around my finances, which is a major thing for people. And I always used to say that the one thing that made me scared about doing the leap and going into my own business was the fear of not having that security blanket around me financially, because I have my own mortgage, I've got everything around me is mine, and I don't want to ever fall back on people, because I need to take accountability for me. It's really important for me that I live a life of integrity, and that I make responsible choices and the right decisions to the best of my ability. So I'm very conscious of that. But actually, I want to feel a little bit less confident. And I said this on a podcast back in January, where I was a guest, and it was a little bit of a moment like, do you want to repeat that, Nat? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to be less confident. What I mean by that is that I want to feel nervous. I want to feel a little bit of anxiety in times, in a good way. I want to feel that I'm tapping in and understanding emotions, and I'm not just pushing things down or letting it go and not really feeling things, because that's when we remember things, and that's when it's tough, but it's electrifying and it's liberating when we feel things and they're great. And actually it invites me to face into fear, because fear is just a defense. It's protection of myself and of us. So if we can get past the fear and feel the fear but do it anyway, on the other side is the art of the possible, and amazing things happen. And look, I talk from a place where I've got amazing mentors around me, and I could spiel off at least 5 people to you that have been impacting me recently to be able to articulate and share this in this way with you. It's not just overnight. I've learned to, and I'm learning to, the best I can, get an eloquent message across and articulate in a way that demonstrates knowledge, experience, and hopefully some wisdom is what I'd love. I guess that's a little bit egotistical. So I wanted to share this with you today. It's an invite to go and try out breathwork, especially if you're skeptical. Try new things, meet new people, and don't hold yourself back. Just go and experience it and try something new and see how it feels. And yeah, I want to really hope to leave that with you, that there's a few reflections for you to think about today. And if I was to leave that question that Stuart always asks, which kind of always makes me smile at the end of our breathwork techniques in the morning, he'll say, what's going to be great about today? And that's the part that sets you off with the intention. So over to you for your Monday, or any day that you're choosing to listen to this. What's going to make today great for you? Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and it inspired you on your journey. Make sure to share this with a friend and subscribe to the podcast. I really love hearing feedback from you, so leave a review and let me know what part of this episode resonated with you the most. And now it is time to go take action, make a difference, and have a great day.